Sports reports, no gimmicks, no clowns. 2-5, Mr. Logical, we run this town. Real talk only, no chaser, no doubt. From the east to the west, it's the order we shout. Mic check, lights flash, game time, stay ready. 2 vets in the zone, keep the pressure real heavy. Big hits, big plays, yeah, we breaking it down. Truth rings in your speakers, every word is the crown. From the north side hustle to that southern flame. Midwest grind, west coast of the game. Sports talk kings, yeah, we wear that crown. Turn it up, let them know it's about to go down. Sports reports, no gimmicks, no clowns. 2-5, Mr. Logical, we run this town. Real talk only, no chaser, no doubt. From the east to the west, it's the order we shout.
It's about to go down.
Yes. You are now listening to the sounds of Sports Reports It's Ordered. And, you know, this is another one of those episodes where we come into you. It's Thursday. You're going to hear it on Friday, but we had to get this out the way because I think Tua's going to have both of us throwing up tomorrow. So we didn't think we were going to be able to make it tomorrow. But he is the one and only world famous, world renowned, cool, calm, and collected. He is Mr. Logic. Don't bring feelings to a fact fight. And then, of course, I'm your unorthodox statistician going left so much you thought I was southpaw. I go by the name of 2-5. Tonight is picks, and Mo picks. So we going to get right to it right now. But first, like, review, subscribe, share, rate, do all the free things, do all the good things. With the liquid death in hand, or in my situation, since you ran out, you got to get your liquid death hydration on. So I'm going to fill that up right now. But while we at it, Mr. Logical. So we talked about this the other day. You ready? On Sunday night, Green Bay came into the Steel City, or so I'm told it's called, and walked right through the Pittsburgh Steelers. So, okay, you feel like Mike Tomlin is this great coach, you know, used to adversity, you know, makes the playoffs or at least gets a winning season every year. So it's like, okay, I expect the Steelers to bounce back.
Correct.
But this time, they got the Colts coming in. What say you, Mr. Logical?
This is the thing with the NFL. Like I said, we're recording this on Thursday. It's going to come out tomorrow. Last week, the Miami Dolphins looked unbeatable. 34-10, defense dominant. Everybody's happy, hunky-dory, shaking hands on the sideline. This week, currently watching the game, I think it's 21-6. It just was 3rd and 17 and threw a check down behind Achane from the 3-yard line. So it's like week-to-week teams can look different, and there's no sure thing in the NFL, but with the Colts' ability to score the points that they score, control the clock the way they control the clock, and I think just the Steelers' inability to put anything on film that says, okay, we have to prepare. We have to pay extra special attention to this thing that they do. The fact that they don't have that, it's like I give the advantage to the Colts, even without the records, like 7-1, 4-3, because, you know, a couple of kicks a different way, the Steelers could be, you know, 6-1 right now, you know, so it's like it's not even the record. It's just that there's nothing that they present to the opposing team that creates a problem for them. It's just like you got to be sound, obviously, because it's the NFL. You can't just be out there flipping loose and ill prepared, but you stay in your zone and you just let DK run his go routes, his post routes, and his outs, and maybe like a deep dig. He's not running any drag routes. He's not running any slant routes. He's not running any deep post routes. It's just very, you know where he's going to be. And Aaron only likes to throw certain routes to his number one guy, so you know he's not going to reroute him. So it's just like, and then Arthur Smith just basically does the exact same thing he did in Atlanta. So it's just very mundane, and so it's nothing really got to prepare for.
So, you know, the Colts have been the best team in the league this season, you know, averaging about 34 points a game. But this would be the week to get them. You know, Mooney Ward is hurt. Kenny Moore is hurt. You know, they got other injuries. They don't get home to the quarterback very often. And, you know, they brought in this defensive coordinator we were talking about from Cincinnati. who doesn't blitz a lot, but he does a lot of exotic looks. You just never know where it's coming from, what kind of coverage it's going to be. So this is the problem. When you're playing young quarterbacks, you try to speed them up, make the game a little faster, make them have to make quicker decisions. A veteran like Aaron Rodgers, he wants to get the ball out quick. So you figure, let's make him think a little bit. So we can't get home anyway. So maybe we could sit in some kind of zone, maybe a cover 2 over the top, and just make him hold on to the football. And because we've seen this season, you would think that with him being the type of veteran that he is, you wouldn't want him to hold the ball. Because now he's scouring the field, picking apart your defense. But the longer he holds the ball, the better it is for the defense, because if he can't hit DK right away, there's a lot of confusion. Now, this would be the type of game where you would think that, hey, the tight ends should have a field day, whether it's Freiermuth. They got this basketball player that they rarely use, They
got the offensive lineman size tight end, Darnell
that's
Washington.
what I'm talking about. Darnell Washington, yeah. And then
he's 300 pounds.
And they got Jonnu Smith, who they use a little bit more now. But the Steelers can't run the ball consistently enough. And if they do, they don't continue to run. They had a good day against the Packers last week, if you're just looking at the yards and carries, but they don't commit to it. Because when you have a quarterback like Aaron Rodgers, we had the little argument the other day about, are the Steelers going all in? So you feel like a certain, I got to let Aaron get his passes off. But it gets
but Aaron is very particular about where he wants you to be when he wants to throw the ball.
Right.
So it's a lot more like, if you look at a guy like Mahomes will get to a spot to where you and him can get on the same page. He can get you the ball because he's rolled here and you sat in the zone.
Right.
Aaron wants you to sit where he thinks you should sit based off the pre-snap coverage and where you are in the route. He just wants
regardless
you to turn
of what's
sit.
actually happening.
Regardless of what you think, and it's like, okay, I'm running a curl route. He might see to himself, okay, that linebacker is sitting, safety's over the top. I need this guy to curl. I need your curl to be a little wider. So when you hook around, I can get you in this. But if you don't do that, then he's going to come off. And that's the difference. Like, he's not going to move to where he can get you the ball. Not often. I'm pretty sure he does. But, you can always tell he was very particular about getting the ball out of his hand on time in the right spot. Whereas a guy like Stafford would look it and have you just keep going and throw you open. So that's just the difference. And once again, like I said, I don't think they have the weapons in the passing game that's going to allow for Aaron to be able to do that a lot. Because basically, you can see it when DK dropped that pass early in the game last week. I don't know if he was yelling at the ref or if he was yelling at DK because it hit him both the hands. But he always has like some kind of reaction to the play before instead of going on to the next lane.
Yeah, he just makes you uptight. It's like when we talk about how do you make a comeback? Well, your coach can't be over there looking like he's down in the pits, or I always talk about Mike McDaniel in that playoff game at Kansas City. Like, they were doomed as soon as the ball got kicked off because of his face. And that's
Andy Reid was out there with frozen snot in his mustache, no mask on.
Yeah.
Just out there dealing with it. And he was out there wrapped up like he couldn't wait for the game to end.
Yeah, so the Steelers, they've given up 68 points in their last 2 games. They've given up 30 in another 2 games this year, including the opener. Remember that against the Jets. So the question is, can the Steelers stop anybody that's not Cleveland?
The Colts are on a historic run.
Right.
Like, they're up there on pace with some of the greatest offenses in the NFL history. Right. Granted, that pace might not maintain because you think about the personnel of these other teams, and then you think about the personnel of the coach, you think it might not maintain. But, let's keep it a buck. Jonathan Taylor has 14 touchdowns right now. We're 8 games in. I was in a group, I think it was our group. The guy said that he thinks that Jonathan Taylor needed 23 or 24 touchdowns to be the all-time leading rusher for the Colts. I think that was a number. And this was a few weeks ago. And he was like, he's already got 8. I'm like, you think he's going to get 16 to 17 more? And he was like, he's already got this many. I'm like, okay. But then now looks at it as like, okay, now he's sitting on 14. Is like, he might be able to get to that. He might be able to get to that 23.
Right.
So,
right.
Yeah.
And he might get 2 or 3 this week. And this thing could get ugly, and the biggest thing for me, because I wanted to pick the Steelers initially, because I was buying into the Tomlin bounce back, but not the Will Smith bounce back, but the Tomlin bounce back. But, but Deshaun Elliott is out, so their defense that was already busting coverages and looking discombobulated, that secondary is going to look a little bit worse, and you're relying on, now you got to bring Jabril Peppers in, you just picked up Kyle Duggar, but if this was later in the season, maybe I would feel a little better because you're getting them into the system. But just coming right in and having to play
but I'm saying at least those two have played together.
Right.
So they have even if
but
they
Duggar
don't know
just literally got there yesterday.
Yeah, but he's played with Jabril, so I'm pretty sure he can put him up on games just off the fact that I know what he could do. He knows what I could do. We can communicate. If you got to play them both, at least you have that level of continuity. And like I said, I don't think that the Steelers' defensive scheme is super complicated.
I don't think it's bad. I just think they're old. You know what I'm saying?
Remember only so much you can really do. Yeah.
Well, remember we were talking about when we did our NFC East preview, that was something that we were talking about. Like, Washington's old. You know what I mean? Like, they got good players, but they're old now. I think the Steelers are just, in that same vein, So for 1 week and 1 week only, it's bleed blue for the shoe. So then, as we travel around the league, you got the number 1 defense going against the number 5 defense. And look, we've been talking all season about how Bo Nix is out here missing throws, missing open receivers, but the run game looks like it's starting to come together. My guy RJ Harvey is coming alive. J.K. Dobbins had a great game last week. But now we get the answer to some of those questions that I asked on Tuesday, right? Like, is this the Texans now, or was that just the 49ers? Because the Texans are going to come out early and tell Bo Nix, I want to see if you can make these throws that you've been missing. And if you can't, it's going to be a very long day, and this game might look like that game we saw in London.
Yeah, well, the game last week, Ava had parlay where Sutton needed 4 catches and 40 yards. But yet Bo Nix was finding everybody else. He was finding everybody else. And every time she look up, she sees somebody, she see the 1 on the jersey and think it was Sutton. I was like, nah, it wasn't him. It was Franklin. And then it was hidden Mims, and he had Harvey catching passes and making runs. So it just was as much as I'm not a fan of Sean Payton, I just think that Denver offensively will probably be more consistent than Houston. I think Houston still hasn't really shored up their offensive line problems. I mean, you're talking about they're the number 1 defense in the league, right? I don't know all these ratings because I think last week Atlanta had the number 1 pass defense. I'm I watched all those games. I don't know where I got that from, but we'll let it ride.
Some of that is
how EPR bullets and everything goes. This is a 12-hour fixed rate. This is the FMC rate. So we'll just use the better numbers, and we'll give you all these different rates.
Some of that happens because teams can run on Atlanta.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. So it's just weird. Maybe you get a couple extra sacks, and that goes to your pass defense points, but you got 5 sacks in 1 game. So it could be kind of inflated, but having a number 1 defense, scoring defense, and you are 3-4, that's a sign that your offense isn't really clicking.
Oh, I just saw the Dolphin fan with the paper bag on.
Oh, I know. I feel their pain. I feel their pain.
So here's a question for you. We know that Surtain is out.
Correct.
So how much do you think that changes Denver's overall scheme, or does it not matter because of Houston's offensive line?
I don't think so. They're going to pick on, if Houston's smart, they'll pick on Riley Moss. Maybe they'll get some, maybe they won't. He does
maybe
seem to
Nico will be back.
Maybe Nico will be back, but I mean Riley might maybe he grabs one. But as long as Denver can blitz effectively from the linebacker position and battle with those guys they have in the front four, I think they'll be fine because Surtain isn't hitting any of those gaps on the blitz anyway. So if you can't take care of that, it doesn't matter who's playing corner because if a quarterback can't step up in the pocket and make consistent throws, on those guaranteed passing downs that will happen throughout the game. It's not like Houston's going to be in 3rd and 2 often because they don't run the ball well. So it's going to be a lot of 3rd and 8s, 3rd and 9s, 3rd and 10s, 3rd and 5s. But they're going to be passing downs where it's like you guys don't block well up front. You're throwing the ball a lot. I'm not going to say it'll get ugly because I think, we know Denver's offense can get stagnant. But if Franklin, Mims, Harvey, if all those guys are getting open in space, and then you got Courtland Sutton on the back end, like I said, as much as I don't really rock with Sean Payton, I just have to, I got to look at a team that's 6-2. One of their losses came after a flag was thrown on a kickoff. On a field goal that was missed, and then the other one was made. So it's like, I got to give them their credit where credit is due. And I'm going to go with Denver.
I'm going to take Houston on a last-second field goal. I'm going to call it 19-17 or something along those lines. But then, of course, Mr. Logical, you was talking real big, bad, and greasy the other night about
Absolutely.
My guys up at Orchard Park.
Word.
Kansas City is coming through. The last 4 times they've met in the regular season, Buffalo walked away victorious. The last 4 times they played in the playoffs, Kansas City walked away victorious. So here we are, Mr. Logical. You still sticking with Kansas City, going to walk a mud hole through the Bills.
Does a fat kid love cake?
They do.
Absolutely. The reason I'm sticking with the Chiefs is because I think the Chiefs do the current Chiefs format of how they are built defensively and how they are functioning offensively is the Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid, Travis Kelce key to success. Everything that they had in the Tyreek time when he was there, those early Super Bowl runs, those 50 touchdown years, those early MVP years. Granted, we're saying early, he's only been in the league like 7 years, but like that where it felt like this is unstoppable. We have to ship. They have that now. They have 3 guys that are 4-3 guys. They have multiple tight ends that are catching passes. Kelce is on like some kind of low-key pitch count. That's working because he's fresh all game long. I think they've taken him out. I think they're balancing it well. And we talked about their run game because we're in a group chat earlier talking about Kamara maybe in the trade rumors from New Orleans. I don't think they need that. Yeah. Would it be nice to have a guy that you can hand the ball over to 20 times and average 4.5 to 5 yards a carry? That'd be dope. But Kansas City doesn't operate like that because what they do offensively is that you'll have a lineup with Xavier Worthy, Shee Rice, Kelce, Juju, and Kareem Hunt.
And Juju catches everything, even hands.
Listen, man, don't ever take your helmet off in the fight. Make sure that thing's strapped tight. So you're looking to play this, and you can have Kelce, Rasheed, and Xavier Worthy all on one side, Kareem Hunt to that side of Mahomes and shotgun, and you'll go one-on-one backside of Juju on 2nd and 7. And it's like, okay, now what do? They bring in Gray, and then they bring in Pacheco, and then they bring in what's the other running back, number 24? I keep forgetting his name.
I can't remember the name now.
So now you got both of them lined up. So now that's a completely different look. You got 2 or 3 tight ends. So it's like, I think they can authentically get to these looks every single possession. And I don't know if Buffalo has the same. I don't know if Buffalo can. They definitely can't match up offensively. And I don't know if they have enough healthy bodies that can afford to make a mistake. Because something's going to happen. Someone's going to blow a coverage. Mahomes is going to roll out, and someone's going to sneak out. And it's like, I don't know if Buffalo has enough to combat that.
So as soon as I thought of this game, the first thing that popped into my head, first thing that popped into my head was nobody circles the wagons like the Buffalo Bills. But here's the problem. Buffalo doesn't play in the ways that you need to play to beat Kansas City. So when I think of Kansas City, to your point about their defense, I think of it in SEC terms, from the standpoint of when you're playing against South Carolina, Bama, Georgia, whoever it might be, you want to run at them, not around them. And, because they're going to beat you to the sideline. You just can't get there. And Buffalo has weapons and they don't use them the right way, because I feel like James Cook should be catching more passes out of the backfield. Like, you should be using him at times more like Jahmyr Gibbs in a lot of ways. And they don't do that. When I look at Buffalo, they don't have anyone besides Dalton Kincaid that can really create separation. And Dalton Kincaid is not even like a Kelsey type, or he's not a Tony Gonzalez type, but for whatever reason, he just runs routes, gets open. But the receivers, especially our guy, we love Keon Coleman, for whatever reason, it seems as if he makes his plays more difficult than they have to be.
They don't have a true number one guy. They got some 2s and 3s that have to fill in for the one. And just defensively, you talked about Kansas City and the SEC. What Kansas City does up front, those big linebackers flow side to side so well, partly because the defensive line takes, like, 2 guys on Kansas City's defensive line take up 2 blockers on each one of these kind of plays. So they get passed off. So Chris Jones is getting double teamed on, like, say you got a stretch play to James Cook to the right. The whole defense is shifting, but the defensive linemen are holding up the offensive line, because you have to double Chris, and then you have to make sure you can't just get to the second level, because one of the defensive linemen can beat their guard, beat him across his face, and get to the backfield and cause havoc. So you got to hold it up. Meanwhile, you have Bolton and Tranquil, that are just in a Karlaftis holding the edge. So I think they just flow so well side to side that, you're just going to have to just run downhill. You got to run right at Chris Jones, maybe time up one of those plays where he jumps through the line to try to make a play, draw plays or something like that. But if the run game's not working, then it has to be the Josh Allen show. And you don't want him just taking, because he's not going to slide. He's not going to slide that often. And you don't want him wasting possessions by rolling out. They got the spy on him. He has to throw it away, because he's not going to do that. He's going to try to tuck and get the 3 yards.
That was something that I was going to say, because when Buffalo plays most teams, not named, I guess, Kansas City and Baltimore, maybe, you go, hey, Buffalo's got something that you don't. It's Josh Allen. The Chiefs have something that nobody else has. It's Steve Spagnuolo. You know what I mean? So Buffalo's going to really miss Ed Oliver in this game, I believe. Just another guy that could get up in Mahomes' face. So they're going to be reliant on, say, Joey Bosa. This is like an NBA moment, right? Like, you're on the road. It's game 4. Like, who's going to step up? Now, Buffalo's at home in this situation, but I just don't think they got the horses. And what they're not going to do, this ain't going to be week 1 against Baltimore, because I think Buffalo probably needs 35 or 38 to win this game. And they're not getting there. So I'm going to roll with Kansas City. And I might even say Kansas City could win this game by double digits.
I could see a 30-20 scenario, 28-17 scenario. I could see something like that, just because I think we talked about betting the overs versus the unders in the first half. I think Kansas City, they take their time in the first half. I think they try to control the ball, control the clock, get through their scripted plays, see what's working, get through Buffalo scripted plays, see what they're trying to do. But a lot of it is going to be where 3rd and 7, Josh Allen's just going to make a Josh Allen play. First half, even third quarter, it's just not sustainable. Like, that can't be your fourth quarter plan, because we saw what happened in the playoffs. James Cook was killing Kansas City last year in the playoffs. But because they have Josh Allen, sometimes they go to that well too much. We've seen a lot of teams do it. San Francisco did it a lot with Christian McCaffrey, ended up missing games. I think Atlanta's doing it a lot with Bijan Robinson. Early Lamar before he really showed me, like, yo, I can pass. Like, I stop calling these run plays all the time. It's the same thing where just because you have this 6'5", 230-pound guy that can move the way he does, you also have 6'5" tight ends that move just as well. Get them the ball and let them take those hits from these linebackers, not your quarterback.
And usually when Buffalo loses a game, not every time, but 8 out of 10 times, it's because they didn't give James Cook the ball enough. So
the last parlay I really was like, I thought was gonna hit. It was gonna hit for some bands. Like we was gonna get a new studio setup kind of hit type. You know what I mean? So James Cook needed 2 receptions at any time touchdown. It was one play against New England where he just was running wide open across the field. Like he had like a little option route, snuck through the line, and just was running across the field. Josh Allen wasn't even looking for him. I'm like, that's a catch and a touchdown, and all I would have needed later was a touchdown. And, of course, the Buffalo win. But I think if they get him involved, they win that game.
Right.
But they just weren't getting him involved. A lot of their drives were stalling out because they weren't getting him the ball. This week, it's going to be tough for them to get him the ball because they might be in 3rd and 7, 3rd and 8 a lot more often than they want to because of the lack of wide receiver depth.
So here's a random question for you. If you're a head coach and your job is on the line, how do you decide when you should fire a coordinator? Because I've been looking at Shane Bowen over here, and of course Brian Daboll is on very thin ice coming into this season. So you figure, right, it's like, okay, can I fire this guy and my owner or GM or whoever look at me and go, all right, he got rid of that dude. Let's see what happens. Or, hey, you've been here 3-4 years and you still getting rid of coordinators? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you're out
after a while. Yeah, after a while, it's on you. Because, like, I'll tell you, like, a quick, anecdote. I remember when I was deployed to Iraq in 2008, I had a supervisor that I had, he was in a group that I had replaced. And when he would complain, he would go to the flight chief office. It was right outside my shop. He would complain all the time about people in the shop because he was a master sergeant. So it was like people texting below. He was complaining about them. I'm in the desert in Iraq, thousands of miles away. He going there complaining about me, something he didn't find in the TO. My initials weren't correct, whatever. So he's complaining so much about everybody in the shop and me on my deployed location to the point the flight chiefs had to call in everybody else and was like, okay, what's going on here? How was this guy complaining this much about you? And then they told him the real story. And they were like, okay, so he's not doing a good job leading you guys. And then eventually he got moved because some people aren't built to be in charge of people. He's one of those people. I like him when he moved out the shop and he was running like the wing exercise program, whatever. So that was good to go. But Daboll, it's like, yo, you can't keep getting rid of these other people or saying everybody else is the problem because ultimately you're in position, you're in charge of them.
You hired them.
So you hired them, you give them the range, you go over the game plan with them, or either you create it, they create it, you approve it. So you're not going into Sunday blind to what they were trying to do to attack whatever defense that you're facing.
Yeah, because I was thinking about that because, I think of the Giants, the game they lost against Dallas, the blown lead against Denver a couple of weeks ago. And, now they're without Cam Scatterboo, so when I look at their defense, I'm like, hey, Cam Scatterboo is one of those guys that even when he doesn't have pretty stats or whatever you want to call it, he brings a certain mentality and toughness to the team. And when combined with Jackson Dart, it kind of turns the Giants into a superpower. Like they just play outside of themselves way better than they should be. But when I look
so does the play calling. The play calling gets out. The play calling gets to a level where you think you have a couple of young seasoned guys. They're calling plays and putting Jackson Dart in situations like they're 2 or 3 years in, and they've been building this not 2 or 3 games, and hence why he ended up throwing that pick in Denver. That's a running play all day long and twice on Sunday. You run that ball, you punt it to the other end of the field, and you make Denver go the whole length of the field. You're up 2 possessions. Only thing that kills you there is a turnover. Don't even put it in anybody's hands. Listen, run the ball, lock your wrist, get tackle or get the first down. We're punting this ball because Denver's got to burn their last time out. That's the difference.
Yeah,
I think everyone was looking at that excitement and thought it was like it led to experience. Like, no, it's just excitement.
Yeah, so defensively, I just don't get it because I feel like they have too many good players, especially on the front end of that defense, to be as bad as they are. So now you got the 49ers coming in, who are hoping that they got Brock Purdy back, because the Mac Jones thing, we had fun, saying pack it up.
Yeah, it's what a backup does. A backup gives you a couple exciting games, and then he gives you his true self.
And I expect a lot of CMC this weekend. He only got 8 carries in the game against Houston. They only had the ball for 18 minutes. So I expect a lot of McCaffrey this weekend. I think the 49ers gut out a close, low-scoring win.
What we got? 49ers coming to MetLife.
Yeah.
The weather's been crazy. It's a lot of rain recently. If the Giants did anything with their defensive talent, I'd rock with it. But they don't. They have like a bunch of first round guys, and it's like Abdul Carter has a half a sack on the season. Like, how come you're not putting him in positions where he's stunting and getting them free runs to the quarterback or blitzing off his edge so that tackle has to make a decision whether or not, so it's a very strange way. And I think because of that, I'm going to pick the 49ers. I like the Giants. I like the energy. I just don't know exactly what I'm going to get from them
right
on each side of the ball.
Yeah, I'm going with the 49ers. Like I said, coming off of that loss last week, I think they're going to come out and knock the Giants over like a house of cards. I think it'll be a low-scoring game, but, Sunday Night Football. Jaden Daniels apparently is back. Terry McLaurin is out again, re-injured the quad and everything. So you got Seattle and Sam Darnold coming across the country. So I have no idea who's going to win this game. This is one of those Josh Allen moments that you're talking about where if Washington wins this game, it's going to be because Jaden Daniels put the rocket on. And I think he might be too compromised to do such things. Seattle's been exploring this kind of college look where they play with 3 safeties. They move Eamon up, into that line, that Buda Baker kind of position.
The rover. I think
rover. And it just messes everything up because Seattle has depth on that defensive line. So I feel like, because Laramie Tunsil's not going to play this weekend. So I just feel like Seattle's going to be able to rotate their defensive line out, keep them fresh, and make Jaden Daniels have to be Superman. Mike Sandstrel, I came into this season with big hopes for him. I talked a couple of weeks ago about putting him out on the outside. At this point, it don't matter if he outside, inside, east side, west side. He's going to be had. So the only thing that gives me a little hope in this game as a fan is that Sam Darnold's got one of those games in there somewhere where he's just going to.
You would think, and I think they're going to win this game. I don't recall him having one in the last couple of seasons.
I think. Well, he had one in the playoff game last year. He had one against the Rams last year. In that Thursday night game where they didn't call the face mask. So it's still there. I'm not saying
that was a one-possession game. That's a 15-yard penalty. Yeah, I'm saying like one of those games where he just gives it away and it's like there's a no shot.
Yeah, but that's the only.
To it.
I think that's
the only way
hope.
they can go in.
Yeah, I think that's the only hope that I have this weekend. So I'm going with Seattle to come in, even though Washington will be wearing their R-word Super Bowl era uniforms. You know what I mean? I just think that Seattle's got too much on the defensive line to make.
Is it going to have the emblem on it, or is it still
no? It's still got the Burger King W, but it's got the stripe. It's got the pants, the design.
Okay.
So yeah, but give me Seattle.
Yeah, I'll take Seattle.
All right, Monday Night Football. Kyler Murray has never lost at Jerry World. He is 9-0 in his life.
That includes his high school state championships,
yeah.
right?
I think he went 5-0 in high school. He's 2-0 in the NFL, and he won a game there at A&M when he was with Texas A&M. So this is what he does. He won a game there at Oklahoma. So I think he's 9-0 overall at Jerry World. The
Very
Cardinals
comfortable in
Yeah.
Arlington.
The Cardinals, as a franchise, have won 7 out of 8 against Dallas. So craziness.
What?
It doesn't even make sense.
Over the course of how many years?
So I think it goes back to 2015. So as I look at this, the Cardinals run a lot of that rover that we were talking about as well. But you can't do that against Dallas because Dallas has 2 elite receivers that you have to be aware of and account for at all times.
Yeah,
The
your
question
corner's
in
going to
this
need
game,
help.
the question in this game is going to be, can Arizona run the ball? And I would like to say yes if Trey Benson was back, but he's not. So I think I'm going to take Dallas in this game, but just because I don't trust Dallas's defense at all, this is going to be a game. See, Tua threw damn near 3 interceptions just on this one drive, but I think the Cowboys win. I think it's close, and I think they just make a play late.
I like the Cowboys defense in this game.
Oh, okay.
In this game. I like their offense better. And that's like Dak. Dak at home is just a different guy. Like, Dak doesn't, how we talk about these other quarterbacks, how you can see what they're going through on the sideline, no matter what the score is, you can tell, all right, this team is winning. Like, that if Chicago's winning or if Chicago's losing, if they put the camera on Caleb Williams, they put the camera on Kyler Murray, if Arizona's winning.
Right.
If they put the camera on, remember Jay Cutler back in the day, if they put the camera on him, you knew what the status of the game was for whatever team he was playing on. Dak can't tell. He's just out there like, listen, I got $60 million this year. I got another 60 coming next year, and I love to play football.
Right.
And he's out there playing football. And I think he's going to bounce back from probably his worst game he had in the season last week. So I like Dallas. And it's at home. It's Monday night. It's prime time. Dallas is undefeated at home. Granted, they do have the tie to Green Bay, but like I said, I still think that second ran out, but that's just me. But yeah, so I'm taking Dallas.
So, all right, so Bryce Young should be back. Just one question.
How badly does Carolina lose?
Yeah. And, well, actually 2 questions.
Okay.
What's the spread? It's at Lambeau.
At Lambeau, Carolina is Carolina lean. That's an NFL game. I got to be respectful. I'm going to say 7.5.
You should be a lot more disrespectful. Green Bay by 13.5.
Jesus Christ. Yeah.
So does Carolina cover that?
That's one of those, we talk about those trap games. This is the one very similar to the Indy Pittsburgh game where it's like, you should beat the brakes off this team. But this is one of those games where a lineman tips the ball in the air and intercepts it.
Well, the Indy the Indy Steelers line is only 3.5.
Yeah, it's interesting. But yeah, 13.5 is tough. I don't know. I'm not sure exactly. Panthers are one of those teams where I think people are excited for the idea of growth.
Right.
And will accept, a step back because I think they're in this space where it's like, we're still growing as a team. We need another piece. We got one more year. Everyone's getting better. Everyone's 1 year better. Like that whole, very optimistic early on a honeymoon phase with this new coaching staff and the new transition. So I don't think any pressure's on them. So I think losing this game wouldn't be a backbreaker like Miami. Miami's going to make wholesale changes after this game.
Yeah.
We're watching out that,
Yeah.
But I say the Panthers, I say they cover. I'm going to go something like 31-20.
Okay. So quick correction from the other night. So we were talking about Kelvin Shepherd. He did go to LSU. I had him confused with the interim coach who went to Nicholls State. But with that being said, we just found out that LSU fired their AD today as well. So, there you go.
Oh, they actually fired him?
Yeah. Well, they told him they're not bringing him back. So I think he's finishing out the year. But anyway, so I bring that up because I don't want to be that guy because you just talked about disrespect.
Okay.
But I think Kelvin Shepherd is who they told us Aaron Glenn was. Because he's got that Detroit defense humming, even with the secondary injuries that Aaron Glenn dealt with last season as well. So now you got J.J. McCarthy back in the fold. Carson Wentz out for the season. Aaron Jones came back last week. So now Minnesota should be whole. 8.5-point spread. The offensive coordinator, John Morton, came out today and said, I need to get Jameson Williams the ball more. Duh. Scary hours, give me the Lions.
Oh, yeah. I'm going to take the Lions in a blowout. McCarthy had a good game against Chicago, but it was a lot of that.
He had a good 12 minutes.
Yeah. And there was a lot of the unplanned, off schedule, go out there, make a play. I remember seeing a stat about him in the Atlanta game. I think it was the last game he played, about like his record as a starting quarterback from his high school playing, varsity high school football through college and the NFL. He had something like 3 total losses or something along those lines. But watching that game against Atlanta was like, if you're this confused by the Atlanta defense, it's going to be tough going forward. And that's when I was kind of like, I had a little pause for the Chicago defense. Like, I think Atlanta's defense is good, but I didn't think they were hold you down, damn near shut you out good. And he was having trouble with them. He sat for a while. And he was dressed for like the last couple of weeks at least. And Carson Wentz was out there playing terrible. So it's like, why are you dressed if you're not if you're ready to go, he should be on the field. Because Carson Wentz was not doing anything to keep his job.
So speaking of Atlanta, because you brought up Atlanta, saying with the tape, saying, of course, back, going to Foxborough. Mr. Logical, what is that spread?
Is Penix starting or is Cousins starting?
We don't know.
10.5.
5.5. So not only do we not know if Penix is playing, we don't know if London is playing. Billy Bowman might be back. My guy, he might be back. Jalen Walker might play. So that gives Atlanta some things to hold on to and hope for. The Patriots have won 5 in a row. And in that stretch, they've only given up 20 points once, which was the game at Orchard Park. Who wins, Mr. Logical?
My heart says Atlanta. My logic says New England. It's just what Atlanta's put on film offensively is so easy to defend that Mike Vrabel's going to tear it apart. It's pistol. And this is very strange. I'm not going to harp on it because, I'm going to kill him next week after this game is over. But for some reason, almost every game in the fourth quarter, late in the third or in the fourth, it's like they have like a built-in break for Bijan. Like every game where it's like they're still trying to run the
fantasy football team about it.
It's like this built-in break that's part of the game plan. It's like that's silly because if I know you're going to take him out and you're going to put Algier in, you're not running a quarter of the plays you run. I don't have to worry about the bubble screen. I don't have to worry about being in pistol and then shifting out to 5 wide and putting the running back way on the outside the numbers on either side. You're not going to do that. You're not throwing any screen passes. You're not throwing anything quick. You're just running the ball. You're throwing something short to Kyle Pitts or you're throwing it out to Drake London. I know that when you have that guy in the game. When they put him in the game at the same time, they always give the ball calling. If I'm Mike Vrabel and I'm sitting there with my defensive staff, they are sitting there with the little clicker like this, just laughing like, look at this, look at this, look at this. They're thinking gonna fool us. Check it out, look at that. Pistol, stretch to the right. All right, they're gonna come back in the second half, 3rd and 3 again. Pistol, stretch to the left. This is all they do, folks. Stop that, stop this gap, plug this gap, and they're punting. They don't go for it effectively on 4th down because they don't. It's like there's not enough creativity to create a buzz. Oh, don't forget, when you see number 89 go in motion, the ball's going there. So it's going to be 4 seconds left on the play clock. He's going to go in motion, and as soon as he gets past the center, which takes about 3 seconds, they're going to snap the ball, and they're going to run right behind him. Happens every single week. Every defense is like, all right, follow 89 and go. And they shoot the gap, and it's yeah.
So Patriots it is.
Patriots it is.
So Titans opened up the season with an 8-point loss at Mile High. Since then, they had the comeback against Arizona, the improbable comeback.
Strange, yeah.
And they lost every other game by double digits. They are 9.5-point underdogs to the Chargers. Mr. Logical.
How are they only 9.5-point underdogs?
Well, that's what I was going to ask you. Does Tennessee cover it?
No. No, not at all.
They're giving up 7.3 yards per pass, and then you got the Chargers coming off a 10 days rest. Yeah. Okay, enough of that.
This could be 31-10.
What might be the game of the week that nobody thinks could be the game of the week? Chicago going to Cincinnati. Now we got to figure out if Joe Flacco is going to play.
Game of the week because it's going to be 44-41. Okay.
Yeah. And then you got Hendrickson's probably not going to go. If you look at Chicago's injury list, it looks like a grocery list. Now, granted, some of these dudes might play.
Take the over on Jamar Chase receptions if Flacco plays.
Yes.
Is Flacco ruled out?
No, not yet. Not yet.
If Flacco
but I don't think he's going to go because
I got 17 catches for Jamar Chase. If Browning plays, 7.
I don't think it's going to go. I don't think he's going to go though because I don't know the exact injury, but from what I'm seeing, it looks like it could be probably something like a rotator cuff. So it's something really up in that shoulder area, or it could be AC joint or something like that. But anyway, the Bengals gave up 39 to the Jets last week. They are giving up 31.6 on the season. This is the problem, though. Caleb Williams, and I talked about this a little bit before, he just can't follow structure. Like, when he has too much time to think, he just, like, back when you were a little kid, you'll ball up a piece of paper, act like you're doing a crossover, NBA Finals, you're going to go for the game-winning shot. That's how he looks on regular plays. Like a guy could be wide open, and it's literally like he steps back, and he's like, and here comes the lineman, and he's going to, is he going to get sacked? No, he throws it. And he didn't even have to do all that. Like, he had a full 2 seconds to throw the ball, but he still acts like he's under pressure for some reason, like this fool that just threw another interception. So it's just kind of one of those things where I don't understand.
McDaniel's about to lock 2 out the building. They about to change the code on him.
Something. But I'm taking, like, this is one of those games, Mr. Logical, where, as Tiana Taylor would say, I'm going to put one in the air, and I'm just taking the home team. So I'm going to take Cincinnati to somehow win this game.
I'm going to take the Bears. I saw a clip of Keem Talib talking about the Dallas-Chicago game. It's an old clip, but I saw it pop up on my phone today. And he was saying, like, how Caleb Williams didn't have a great offensive game. He was throwing it to, like, wide-open guys. But to him, I think that confidence boost was so huge because guys were literally running wide open. I think he's going to get that same kind of easy throws. If I'm Ben Johnson, like, leave that one bottom section of your playbook or your play call sheet. Just put a little X over it. Very similar to this. You can use electrical tape. You can use athletic tape. you use duct tape. Just say, you know what? All of this herky-jerky stuff, we're not calling it. All right, Caleb, we're going to play action. We're going to work the tight end underneath. We're going to work these deep over routes. You have the big arm. We're going to give you a chance to get these shots off. We're going to catch them in cover 2. We're going to throw these routes. Like, we're going to keep it simple, but we're still going to take shots. We're not doing all this other stuff where you got to look off and check here and check. No. We're going to keep it simple. Get up to the line of scrimmage. Look at the defense. This is a play call. Hit the read. Let these guys get in space against the Cincinnati defense. Get them to the point where they're going to, guys is going to start messing up. Don't go out there and make them look like heroes, throwing in the ball, throwing in the double coverage, holding the ball, getting sacks, giving them confidence. Get the ball out of your hand, get it to the playmakers, and let's roll. So I think Chicago pulls it off.
All right, give me Jags over the Raiders. Geno turns the ball over too much. And even
the Raiders,
even though they should, Brock Bowers should be fully healthy, Jacoby Myers should be back, but I'm, I don't know the status of Brian Thomas. It sounds like he's going to play, but I don't know how limited he'll be. So this might be the first game where we get a look at NFL receiver Travis Hunter featured in a way that makes you think that he could be a number 1 receiver. But I'm going to take the Jags. 2.5 point spread sounds like easy money, even though it's in Vegas.
That sounds like a very, very favorable spread. I don't know what the Raiders have done that warrants.
I think it's just the fact that the last couple of times we saw Jacksonville since that Kansas City game, their offenses looked very discombobulated, and Brian Thomas.
They'll be all right when Geno gives them 14 points.
We'll see.
When Genty misses a block and he fumbles, or Genty misses a block and he has to throw it too early and it gets picked for a pick 6, calling it.
And then finally, your favorite rookie quarterback is getting his first start.
Yeah, my boy Tyler.
You know what I'm saying? Puka Nacua should be back. Mr. Logical, what is that spread?
They have it where Tyler is starting, and then I'm going to be 16.5.
14.5. What I'm saying? Down at the House of Horrors, and I think the Rams cover.
I think it's 16. I think it's 14.5 because it's at home. It'd be 16.5 if it was in LA.
Yeah, and you got those monsters versing the gang with a rookie quarterback. Yes, it's at the House of Horrors, but that house ain't scaring nobody.
He's gonna have a terrible game.
Terrible.
That is such a poor decision. That is,
what? I got one for you.
Matter of fact, tag the Saints fans in this one. When y'all was coming at me on TikTok, and I said that the Saints are not a serious organization, this is what I mean. There is no reason to start this young man now. Because think about it. What has he learned since he got drafted that had him surpass Spencer Rattler? So Spencer Rattler, who's been in the system for a couple of years, can't get it done. Who's learning? Who's advancing in that room? Because if this guy couldn't beat Spencer out when you guys drafted him, to beat him out, you drafted him in the 2nd round. He went before Dylan Gabriel. He went after Jackson Dart. No, I think he went after Jalen Milroe. No, he went before Jalen Milroe, who played a national championship game, maybe even won one. I'm not sure at the timeline.
Went before Shador.
Everyone
went before Quinn Ewers.
Went before Quinn Ewers. Went before Dylan Gabriel. Went before guys who played big-time college football games and couldn't beat out Spencer Rattler when you got him from April to August. That's like 16 to 17, 18 weeks. He couldn't beat him out. You've had this mediocre season, and now you're going to throw him in there against the Rams, who are going to score points in bunches to the point where he's going to have to throw it.
So you remember Chappelle's show? Wayne Brady makes Bryant Gumbel look like Malcolm X.
Yeah.
Like Tyler Shuck makes Dylan Gabriel look like Joe Montana. So he's going
to have a terrible game.
All right. So it's upset alert, and the good thing, because we're recording tonight, so I get to get this one in. So give me North Carolina tomorrow on the money line at Syracuse. Syracuse just benched their second string quarterback. Fran Brown talked about like, hey, I gave this dude the ball for too long, so now the third string is going to come in.
Yeah.
So give me Carolina to get their first ACC win. Give me Navy plus 6.5 at UNT. Maybe no upset, but the cover. Give me Virginia Tech to cover 10.5 at home against Louisville. Here's the big one where Mr. Logical gonna give me the crazy face. Give me the Gators. Give me the Gators to cover 7.5 against Georgia down in the world's largest outdoor cocktail party. Give me.
I mean, you're calling an upset alert, so you might as well go out on a limb.
I ain't going out on the limb just yet. Catch me Saturday morning. I got some more thinking to do. Give me Delaware on the money line against Liberty. No shade to Virginia because I got another Virginia team on upset alert, and it just happens to be the Wahoos. So Virginia going out to the West Coast to play the Golden Bears. Give me Cal plus the 4.5. In their last two games, Virginia has beaten North Carolina and Washington State by a combined 3 points. All right. Give me Wake Forest. Now, this is the part that hurts my heart. Give me Wake Forest plus 10 in Tallahassee. And check out the article on chopchat.com, too. Florida State need to wake up. And then as far as some other games that I got my eye on, I want the over 62.5 in Rutgers, Illinois. And I want the under 44.5 Auburn, Kentucky. And the loser of that game might be without a head coach next
Pfizer
week.
coach.
Yeah. So you know what that means? It's time for elimination, Mr. Logical. Back in the day, I used to argue with these people. They used to say, in college football, every week is supposed to matter. And I said, well, no, it only does if you're not in the SEC because, back in the day, Alabama could lose a game. And then at the end of the year, they'll say, well, you wouldn't beat Alabama today, so I'm putting them in the playoffs. You know what I mean? So now we got a real elimination game emanating from Knoxville, Tennessee. Tennessee going to break out the ugly-ass uniforms that they wear every Halloween. You know what I'm saying? They got OU coming in, fresh off the loss to Ole Miss. The loser of this game is probably not going to make the playoffs because Oklahoma still got to go to Tuscaloosa. So we got that in the way. Tennessee already lost in Tuscaloosa, but they closed the season with Vanderbilt. So there's a lot going on here. The loser of this game is in a bad position. Mr. Logical.
I'm listening.
Who do you believe in more?
I believe in Tennessee more.
Okay, tell me more.
I believe in Tennessee. I like their offense. I like the conviction that they play with. I like the fact that they moved on from the quarterback, brought another guy in, and that guy didn't miss a beat. And I actually excelled on them. I like their offense. Defense leave a little bit to be desired, but I think they bounce back. Because Mateer, you got a guy that comes off mid-season surgery. His first game back, not a good game. I'm pretty sure it's healing, but it's probably not 100%. Most teams don't have 100%. Most skilled players or guys that play a lot after 8 games aren't 100%. So you got a guy coming off surgery. I think that's very tough, especially on the road, SEC. Oklahoma just joined the SEC. So it's not a lot of the coaching staff isn't used to the environment. Because what's today? Today's Thursday, we're recording. So 11 p.m. There's probably people already pulling up the tailgate at Tennessee, getting food marinated. They're going to start grilling probably tomorrow. It's going to be a different kind of environment when it comes to SEC football. And I think all of that kind of plays a factor. And that home field, the orange, it's just, I don't know. It's going to be the Oklahoma elimination game, and Tennessee's going to keep their hopes alive.
So I like the matchup inside the matchup. I like the coaching matchup. I'm a big Josh Heupel fan. Brent Venables, I'm not necessarily a fan of, but I respect what he does defensively. Last year when they played, and this is all perspective about, do you think Nico's better than Joey Aguilar or vice versa? Because last year they held Tennessee to 25 points, but within those 25 points, there were just 2 explosive plays that Tennessee got away with, but for the most part, Oklahoma locked them down. I think that Mateer is okay as far as the hand. I think Oklahoma's offense just sucks. Like irregardless of his, I don't know if irregardless is actually a word. I've been learning about that. But regardless of his thumb situation, Oklahoma's offense is just bad. They haven't been able to run the ball all season. He's off.
You thought they were going to be a really good running team.
Yeah, I did because they brought in Jaden Ott from Cal, and but he got hurt early in the year, and just the run game just hasn't been there. So I can't expect that you're going to go into a place like Knoxville and just turn it around. You know what I mean? Like, I would like to believe that because Joey Aguilar has this thing where he likes to throw the ball to the other team. So if Oklahoma wins this game, it's going to have to look like what we were talking about with Denver and Houston. It just has to be a sloppy, ugly, nobody can move the ball, and then Oklahoma just breaks off something, but I can't expect that to happen in Knoxville, so I agree with you. Tennessee Oklahoma's out of here. Then, Mr. Logical's favorite college coach just got that extension today, so he is not going to Penn State. So they got USC coming in, Mr. Logical's second favorite college coach, Lincoln Riley.
Shout out to Lincoln. I'm not going anywhere until tomorrow when my plane comes.
so Lincoln Riley is coming to Lincoln. So Dylan Raiola, a lot of hype, a lot of cosplay, not a lot of output. I don't know how good of a quarterback he is. I don't know if it's the fact that he's at Nebraska and they don't.
I don't think he went to the right school.
Yeah, like they don't have.
I think he went hard. I think he went hard overhead. And because that's his dad's school, and I respect it. But
they got receivers that I like. I like Dane Key a lot.
Yeah, but it's like something about that Midwest Big Ten. Just not a lot of explosive offenses come out of there. I don't know why, because they have access to the same players group. You get speed from anywhere. You get it from Texas, you get it from Kansas. You can get these players, but it seems like Iowa, Iowa State, Northwestern,
Texas dudes
Nebraska,
are going to the SEC now, and they're going to
Utah
or the Big 12 schools first.
Yeah.
You got Baylor, TCU,
but Nebraska is like just that region, that part of like the Big Ten. They all broken off, but like the original, like that group, they just never really had like the passing offense. And I think he's one of those guys that I think if he was in like the Tennessee offense, he would thrive. If he was in maybe like Auburn, where they have like some of the, some of these speedy guys, maybe like a Florida.
Yeah, Auburn's got some damn good receivers.
Just some outright weapons, some dudes.
Nobody to get him the ball.
Really get after it. and I think that's the knock. Like I said, Matt Rule, he has them 6-2 that looking fine. I just never really. I always feel like USC should be better, but they always seem like they're on the fringe. Like, well, not always. Like recently, they just never really. Seeing them on the schedule used to like invoke fear in the opponents. Now I think it's a toss up. Sometimes they're good. Lincoln Riley's a good coach. Has a good scheme. He has access to good players, good funds. There's a lot of money that goes to USC. A lot of NIL deals and boosters, and you get all the resources you need. I'm pretty sure their weight room probably rivals any weight room of any NFL team. Like their locker room and that kind of situation. So I'm pretty sure they're well funded. It's just that I don't fear them when they come to the building. So that Matt Leinart, Reggie Bush, Lindell White, USC, where it's like they can go anywhere and you're like, yo, USC is gonna put up 40 on whomever they see. I don't see that. To your point,
since they've been in the Big Ten, they've played 8 road games in the Big Ten. This is just against Big Ten opponents. They're 2-6 on the road, and including that 2-6 is a very, very, very bad loss last season in College Park, Maryland. So USC is not above losing this game. Matt Rule, we talked about his record against top 10 teams and ranked teams. He's the new James Franklin, all that good stuff. And I always like to point out that was at Temple and that was at Baylor. So a little bit different. I don't think this is a good matchup for Nebraska. I think USC has too much firepower, starting with Makai Lemon. I think USC is going to walk into Lincoln and cover the 6.5.
Like I said, when it's a toss-up for me, I go with the home team, home field advantage. I'm going to go with Nebraska to go ahead and give USC their third loss of the season.
Told y'all.
Essentially eliminating them.
Told y'all that was Mr. Logical's favorite college coach.
Listen, head over heart, I'm a logical guy. Like, I might not give you like all of the, the accolades everybody else, but I'm like, I'll be honest. I think that you have a better shot of winning than Lincoln Riley.
Are you ready now? Don't judge me. So before the season, Mr. Logical picked the team to get to the national title game.
Man, I was hoping, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna get on this early. I'm gonna make this. I'm gonna go out on a limb. And that limb broke.
So we're gonna wake up Saturday morning, the day after Halloween, and it's not going to be Cocktober anymore. Cocktober didn't go so well. Maybe Cockvember will be better.
God.
So with that being said, Lenore Sellers has disappointed South Carolina this year. South Carolina has disappointed Lenore Sellers this year. South Carolina cannot run the ball unless it's Lenore Sellers. We know who, Shane Beamer's daddy is. The one and only Frank Beamer. So
Beamer ball, baby.
If South Carolina does not pull off some Beamer ball feat, their offense generally doesn't score much. So last week, let me paint a picture real quick. They went up on Alabama. They got that 2-point conversion. They made it 22-14. People like Chris, people like White Adam, all these people started texting me, do you see Willie Bryce is rocking right now? And you know what I said to them? It's about to be so many broken hearts in that building. They were like, no. Bama is done. And I said, no, this is the Gamecocks we're talking about. Now, I know that I can't invoke things that happened in the 80s and apply them to today.
Correct.
But what I do know, South Carolina is a terrible football program from an all-time standpoint. Like, they just got over 500 like 5 years ago or something like that. That's how bad they are. They don't know how to win. Now they're going into Oxford. They're going up against a coach that might be coaching for LSU. That might be coaching for Florida.
Listen, all these college coaches, agents looking like the Birdman meme right now because they're all about to get hefty extensions from their
and
current
South Carolina
school.
ain't Master P.
Well, South Carolina's probably going to lose their coach, but Ole Miss, they already lining up the boosters. They call Eli. See if he can get one of them Jersey Mike deals for Lane Kiffin. Get him some Jersey Mike commercials with Danny DeVito.
You know what I'm saying? Give Lane Kiffin one of your rings because it's the only ring he'll ever have.
I mean, call it what you want, but he's about to be the bank's gonna be ringing him when wondering how he got this much money deposited in one day because he's gonna get an extension.
Okay.
Yeah, this is gonna be one like this should be a game that's handled easily by Ole Miss,
But it won't be.
But it will. It's gonna look a lot like Texas A&M LSU did last week.
So I like when we take things that are like they're nouns and we make them verbs. So back in like around that 2010 window, we used to refer to this thing as Clemsoning. You know what I'm saying? Like Ole Miss is the new Clemson. At that point, Clemson. There's always a game. Last year it was two of them, right? They lost that game to Kentucky at home. They lost that game at the Swamp. And I'm not saying they're going to lose this game. I think they're going to win the game. But I think this game is going to be much closer than people want it to be. Like, I think that South Carolina is going to play defense. You know, Trinidad Chambliss is going to be running for his life. He'll get away with it. They'll live to fight another week. But I think Cockvember starts off pretty stiff.
God, you're fired.
You know, okay, all right. Let's go around the nation real quick before we get out of here. So I brought up Auburn and their great wide receivers. You know, they went and got, they got Cam Coleman already. They went and got Eric Singleton from Georgia Tech last year, who is one of the best electric receivers, in space. But then you had Jackson Arnold trying to get them the ball. Jackson Arnold, and this is no disrespect because he was the upperclassman at the time, Jackson Arnold couldn't beat out Dylan Gabriel. All right. Now, with that being said, Jackson Dart has officially been benched. So Ashton Daniels, transfer in from Stanford, is going to get the start. So here's the next question, Mr. Logical. This is sort of in the same vein of that Brian Daboll question. When do you know it's time to bench your quarterback? Because you're already sitting here and we're talking about, hey, if you lose this game to Kentucky, you're probably going to be out of here. Maybe you should have benched Jackson Arnold a little earlier.
Nah, I think you give them the benefit of the doubt if you've been, because the coach-quarterback relationship, I'm pretty sure most head coaches, they probably talk to their assistant coaches and coordinators and then the quarterback. I imagine that the head coach talks to the quarterback in more one-on-one situations than he does probably most of the coaches on the staff. I imagine he's in a room with multiple coaches a lot. Starting quarterback and head coach probably have a lot of one-on-one conversations. And I think he might just be to the point where it's like, listen, I need you to make plays in these situations. Don't try to be a hero. Don't look back middle of the field, try to make a throw. Don't check out of a running play on 3rd and 2 when we have the perfect call set up because you think you see something else. So little things like that, I think, get a quarterback bench. If it works and you don't have a capable backup, you can go out there and just do your thing. Or if you have the buzz or the cachet, like Dylan Raiola, I don't think he's getting benched. He can have a bad game, but he just has like a different kind of stretch. Like if you're already on thin ice, you got to make sure you lock everything down. Granted, you get a coach who's on thin ice, he's a little bit more desperate. I think if Miami, we talk about the NFL real quick, if Mike McDaniels had if Mike McDaniels and the Miami Dolphins would have drafted Dylan Gabriel, I think he would be starting next week because it's like, you can run my same offense because you're left-handed. Let's see if we can put you in there and do it because it's like where I'm exhausted watching this other guy throw the game away. I think that's when you do it. But in college, you normally have so many talented guys that are probably even talented. It's probably not that great of a gap. And if the guy's staying there, he probably thinks he can beat out the starter. So give him a shot.
Okay. Should top 10 Vanderbilt feel disrespected that Arch Manning is in concussion protocol and questionable to play this weekend, and you're still the underdog?
Absolutely. 100%. Texas hasn't done anything this year that says we can trot out anybody but under center and beat a top tier team. Not even a top 10 team, just a top tier team. So is it at Texas?
It's at Texas. 2.5 point spread.
Maybe it would have been a toss up on a neutral field, like not somewhere outside of Texas. So let's think somewhere in between. Say they played in Louisiana.
I would like to think that they think that Archer's going to play for Texas to be favored.
But even with that, it's like that's not even like the guarantee. like even with Arch playing, I still would take Vandy. I think Diego Pavia is playing better football than Arch Manning.
Yeah, a lot of people are saying make way. Diego Pavia might just be in the Heisman conversation. And I think he would be if the Heisman was treated as an MVP.
Yes, but the Heisman is an MOP for the best, for one of the best teams in America. So the most outstanding player on one of the best teams. That's the Heisman.
Yeah.
Unless you're Travis Hunter, where you were just an overall outstanding
you're
player.
Just doing things that we haven't seen.
You're just doing things we haven't seen.
Right.
That's another piece. Similar to RG3 when he won it. He just was so dynamic, very similar to Tim Tebow as well.
You know where game day is?
Salt Lake City.
Rice Eccles, baby.
45,000 screaming fans on top of you like this.
Got the Bearcats coming in. Bearcats win this game. Spread started out at 7.5. I saw it at 10.5 earlier. But if the Bearcats win this game, we might have to put them into Big 12 title consideration. I think Utah gets it done, just the home environment and everything, so I think they got that going for them, but we'll see. You will see. Can Colorado get off the ground? They got the Arizona Wildcats coming into Folsom Field. We was talking about Dion the other day as far as, all those people on TikTok defending Dion like he kinfolk. You know what I mean? I think they should beat Arizona or at least be very competitive. Arizona needs that game. They lose that game, then their coach is probably on the hot seat. Mr. Logical, we got the Commander-in-Chief Trophy. We got the United States Military Academy going out to the United States Air Force Academy. Here's the question. As I scroll back up on my computer here to get my number. Oh, no, I think I lost it. But, so the Commander-in-Chief Trophy goes through these phases where different teams just dominate it for a few years.
Yeah.
So Navy's already beat Air Force. This is the question. Do Army and Air Force get over the 49.5?
These academies are, because they can't really guarantee that they're going to get top tier football talent in every year. And guys do transfer out. So it's tough. And you said
49.5 and Army's favored by 1.5.
I'll take Air Force 28-24. They break the 49.5.
Okay.
They go over. Off we go into the wild blue yonder.
Miami, you better not sleepwalk through Dallas, because I know SMU lost to Wake Forest last week, but don't sleepwalk through there. Baron Morton back for Texas Tech. They got a big game at the Little Apple in Manhattan, Kansas. Avery Johnson finally looking like what I expected him to look like.
Some of our picks just fell completely off the wagon.
They did.
It's crazy. I mean, I'm glad we did it early and we have it written down.
Hey, I still got my national champion alive. You know what I mean? So I'm good.
I don't think I don't know if I have anybody alive.
For those of you not tracking, I picked Alabama to win the national title. So, I'm there. I picked out. I still got a few of them out there. Alabama winning the SEC. That one's still alive. I had Indiana making the Big Ten title game. I didn't have them winning
Texas, Ohio State. I believe I got Indiana trickled in there somewhere.
I have
all of my surprise teams are done.
My ACC title game was Miami against Louisville, so that's still alive. I'm sorry, it was Clemson against Louisville, so Clemson's gone, but
Clemson's gone.
Louisville's alive. So Clemson actually has Duke coming in. They're only a 3.5 point favorite. We'll have to see if Cade Klubnik is going to play. But what I was going to say was Kansas State has won 8 straight against Texas Tech, 12 out of the last 13. Texas Tech coming in 7.5-point favorite. Might be a little upset special there. Shout out to Mark Carney. He has Kent State at a healthy 3-5 and 2-2 in the MAC. Now, that sounds awful, but they were 1-23 in their last 24 games.
Yeah.
So they just made him the full-time head coach today. So he's going to get the job, and Kent State is happy. So shout out to him. Deshaun Jackson and Michael Vick playing each other tomorrow, or I'm sorry, on Saturday. So look out for that game. Delaware State and Norfolk State.
Shout out Mike Vick, VA. We in the building. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I like Deshaun. I don't know how many people are going to be at the link for that game. It's a lot of seats, so hopefully they sell it out. I don't know if they're going to be able to ride the popularity of 2 former Eagles. But it's like a 70,000 seat stadium, so hope they're giving out tickets to schools and football camps and football leagues. But it is football season, so it's going to be a lot of youth football programs playing their games on Saturday. So it's going to be tough to probably sell that stadium out. But I'm glad these NFL players are taking their shot and going to HBCUs, because we talked about it in the pregame. You're probably not going to get a lot of shots on a Division I staff, but as a former player, especially when you go from just being a former player to a head coach,
right?
I imagine you're going to rely on some of the coaching you had before, like getting other former players in, like you talked about. Clinton Portis is on staff somewhere. What school is it?
Is that Delaware State?
At
with
Delaware State.
Jackson.
So
yeah.
So I think T.O.'s probably throwing his hat in. He might be willing to be a wide receiver coach somewhere. So I like it. I mean, if they're small schools, they're not going to attract top tier coaches. But if you have former players who've made a substantial number of money and they're not in the job for the money, they're in the job to continue to teach their craft, I think it's a smart move, and I think HBCU should consider just doing a lot more. You'd live with the results because you can get the talent you can get, but having those men in there who've been to the league, who could talk the league, who could talk about the money, who could talk about success and talk about all the things that you need after life and can relate to the players, I think that's huge.
Yeah. And then last couple of things before we get out of here. There was a time that I tried to join the Catholic Church. They told me no. So I didn't even know they could tell you no, but they told me no. Like I was just like, bruh, So at that time, when I was going through my year of learning about Catholicism, I adopted Boston College as my Catholic team of choice. To screw Notre Dame.
You're 2-5. It's not, honestly, it's not that interesting. It's pretty standard.
But
that you would pick them.
But so Boston College brought in Bill O'Brien last year. He chased out Tommy Castellanos. Grayson James at quarterback. BC is sitting there right now. Maybe his job is on the line, or at the very least, you feel like it should be, because Boston College is sitting there at about 1-6 right now. They got Notre Dame coming into Chestnut Hill. Rivalry game, they say, probably to Boston College, but they're 1-7 actually. They're 1-7. They got Notre Dame coming into Chestnut Hill. Rivalry to Boston College only. Mr. Logical, what is that spread?
23.5.
The spread in this game, which is a fireable offense within itself, is 29.5. 29.5. So thank you, Catholic Church, for telling me no.
That is 4 touchdowns and a field goal or a safety.
Yes. And
which is
to make matters
likely.
even worse, the over-under's 58.5.
So they got a final score of...
It's bad, bro. It's bad. We looking at like 41 to no, I can't even get there. Like
49.
49 to 10, 28 and a half, 49 to 10, and 58 and a half.
49-10. I mean, it's college football, so it's not that crazy for the game to end that way. But for the game to be predicted by like the gambling authority, that's crazy.
Yeah, like if Boston College doesn't get up for any other game, they'll get up for Notre Dame. Now that don't mean they're gonna stay up, but they're gonna come
You
out
still got to tackle Love out of the backfield.
right and Price. And then finally, Mr. Logical. On a scale of 1 to 20, how hilarious would it be if Penn State beat Ohio State this weekend?
I think you could fire Ryan Day. Now, I don't know. Okay, here we go. I won't say fire. I think if they lose to Penn State, the conversation around Buckeye Nation of firing Ryan Day would be louder than you think. I don't think it'll be executed, but I think that will be the immediate conversation. And I believe it won't just be fans. I believe pundits will hold on to it. I think some of the, like how you and I have our podcast, I'm pretty sure there's a handful of Ohio State or Ohio,
Buckeyes,
the state of Ohio guys who have their individual podcasts with their buddies that they worked with before. They will be calling for his head. They be calling the radio station. I think for like 6 days up until their next game, it'll be a real conversation, not executed on by Ohio State as a university, but the conversation will be there. Like, yo, we really gotta get rid of this dude.
Yeah.
I think it would be, like I said, conversed and talked about as a fireable offense if they lose.
All right. So the spread is down to 19 and a half. But Mr. Logical, what is the over-under?
19 and a half spread over under is 38 and a half.
45 and a half.
So they expect Penn State to score some points. I don't think Ohio State's given up a first quarter touchdown yet this year.
I think this is going to be a low scoring game. I think Ohio State's going to win it something like 20-6.
I think they're going to cover the spread. I think it's going to be closer to 30-3.
Okay. All right. And then last thing, because you made that face and told me to go out on a limb, so like, I try to not necessarily rely on past results to give me future results, but sometimes I just have the memory that I have. And What I remember is last year in the world's largest outdoor cocktail party, the Gators had a 20-6 lead in the third quarter. And then DJ Lagway got hurt. And then once he got hurt, Carson Beck led 3 touchdown drives. And the wind came out the sails. Billy Napier's gone.
Correct.
So usually in college football, you see a little bit of a, hey, our coach is gone, like, let us go get this, but I don't know if Florida has enough to win the game, but I just haven't been impressed with Georgia this year. Like their running game is not as good as I thought it would be. Their offensive line isn't that great. The secondary, which is usually the one thing you could rely on, has been
I know
awful.
the Philadelphia Eagles rely on their defense to stack their team.
Right. And then Georgia's defensive line hasn't been all that great either. So I think another low scoring game, I could see something along the lines of, call it 23-17, but like a late touchdown that, like gets them to that point of 40 points total. But I think the Gators I think their defense is good enough to keep them close enough. I just don't know if they can close the deal.
Is the passion there? Like,
so
if you like if Georgia gets a couple early touchdowns and Florida's punting the ball, you know,
Well, you know,
for
that's
some reason I'm predicting like an abnormally hot day in Florida for November, something strange. I mean, like when you had the coach there, you had the guy that recruited you there. I think it might inspire a little, little vigor. But when your season's proverbially over, I think this kind of game you drop where it's just like you will look up and it's 35-10 midway through the third.
I don't know. I think that at this point, there is SEC pride. It is your biggest rival. Like I know a lot of people like to think it's Florida State, but I think it's Florida, Georgia. And I would
So
like
you're
to think,
saying just the rivalry alone is gonna ramp it up a little bit for the
yeah.
Gators.
And actually, one last question. I just thought about this. So I love these things like the world's largest outdoor cocktail party, the Red River Shootout. I know you're anti-neutral site for the most part, but are you okay with these games or should they be on campus?
They should be on campus. The event, like the Red River Shootout, I kind of understand it
It's
because
like
I didn't
perfectly in the middle.
yeah, I didn't have an opinion on it before, and the fact that it's perfectly in the middle. I don't like neutral site games where Georgia Tech and Georgia play in Atlanta. Like you're already in the state, just play at home. Um, Alabama, USC playing in Dallas. I don't like that. Just play where the fans are. The money is already there. You sold the TV rights, you're selling the jerseys, you're selling the popcorn, you're selling the $16 hot dogs, you're selling the $22 chicken strips and fries. Like you're getting all the money. Give the fans, the people who are in debt to go to school there, and the people who've been lifelong fans, like I said, the fans that are pulling up in their trailers and their campers right now, they should be able to drive from their house in the state that they love and they live in and watch the amateur football team that they support at home. Let them drive. Like, you shouldn't have to fly from Baton Rouge to Dallas to watch LSU play Oregon. Either Oregon's coming all the way down to Baton Rouge or I'm going all the way up to Oregon. Making all these fans travel, bogging up airport lines because you want to make some extra money is absolute bogus to me. And I'll never like if imagine if Virginia Tech played all their games at the Commander Stadium or in Baltimore. It's like, what's the point? Like, they're already in the middle of nowhere, Virginia. Now I got to go all the way up through Richmond and through DC and deal with all that traffic just to watch this game that might end 10-7. No, let me watch that at my block where I live at.
Yeah. All right, y'all. Y'all know he had to get VA in there because he was born in Texas. He was raised in VA. He's representing everything New Jerusalem, but he don't want to go sit outside and watch these games, though.
Listen, the Atlanta Jets game on the 30th of November. I'll see how the weather changes because Jersey's been different. Like I said, my son, shout out to the Northern Burlington Greyhounds playoff game Friday night. I think we're gonna take it. I like it. I'm putting it out there. But other than that, man, I'm so proud of these young men. Like I said, I've watched them grow from 7 years old. My son started playing. They're just like their 10th season playing football together. They look like a bunch of seasoned vets. I've been showing all the videos and sharing all the pictures of my son's touchdown catch last week. I teared up a little bit, but I'm saying, like, I like just being out there and watching the football games. I get it. But last week was our first cold game. It's been abnormally warm here for a lot of our games. And me, a lot of dads were up there shivering. I got the hoodie on. I'm like, you cold? Like, yeah, I'm cold. What's our first cold game? Like, yeah, it's 9 games to the season. So I can't imagine what the weather's going to look like. And I got to watch the Jets and the Falcons run, stretch plays left and right, and then throw passes on 4th and 2. It's going to drive me crazy. But if vet ticks come through, vettix.org, if they come through with the tickets, then I'll go check it out.
Yep. But he is Mr. Logical, and all he asks of you is that you don't bring feelings to a fact fight.
Don't do it.
And then, of course, it is I, your unorthodox statistician, down here in the Alamo, going left so much you thought I was southpaw, going left to the point that Tua actually throws me the football. I am 2-5. I do believe in Joe Hendry. This is Sports Reports Exhorted. Thank you for tuning in. Don't forget to download on those DSPs. Like, review, subscribe, share, rate. Do all the free things. Do all the good things. Have you a liquid death while you at it. And if you can't, get on this hydration. Super sweet. Kind of tastes like Starburst. Actually, I got this cherry obituary. But we will be back on Tuesday, of course, with our reactions. Gonna have to start sprinkling in some basketball for you. And all I got to say, and I know I shouldn't say this, but I'm going to say it anyway because I say the things I shouldn't say. Go Blue Jays. Saying take down the Empire. Take down the Empire. But we love y'all so much. See you in a few days. Enjoy your weekend. Be safe. Check those kids' candies because there's sickos out here.
Goddamn.
About to go down.
Yeah, just saying.
Reports, no gimmicks, no clowns. 2-5, Mr. Logical, we run this town. Real talk only, no chasing, no doubt. From the east to the west, it's the order we shout. Mic check, lights flash, game time, stay